Maya stepped into the abandoned village house for the first time. The wooden floor creaked beneath her feet, and the air smelled damp and musty. Dust covered every surface, and cobwebs hung from the corners of the ceiling. Sunlight barely filtered through the broken windows, casting long shadows across the peeling wallpaper. The silence was heavy, almost alive, pressing down on her as if the house itself was watching. Suddenly, Maya's phone buzzed loudly, breaking the heavy silence. A message appeared from an unknown number. "We've been waiting for you." Her heart skipped a beat and a cold shiver ran down her spine. She looked around the empty house nervously, the shadows now seeming to move with her every glance. The air felt colder, and the faint creak of the attic stairs made her jump. Was someone or something watching her? She couldn't tell, but she knew she wasn't alone. As Maya tried to calm herself, she noticed the shadows shifting strangely along the walls. A gust of cold air swept through the room, and the faint creaking of the attic stairs grew louder. Every corner seemed to hide a presence, something watching silently. Her reflection in a broken mirror flickered unnaturally, as if it had a life of its own. The faint whispers she thought she had imagined before grew louder, forming words she couldn't understand. Panic began to rise inside her, but curiosity kept her rooted in place, unable to look away from the dark corners that seemed to stretch endlessly. Maya's eyes slowly drifted toward the staircase leading to the attic. The wooden steps groaned under a weight that wasn't hers. A shadow moved at the top of the stairs, disappearing whenever she blinked. Her heart pounded as she felt an invisible pull, almost like the house itself was beckoning her upward. The whispers grew sharper, forming syllables that teased her name. She took a cautious step forward, every floorboard crying under her feet. The air grew colder with each step, and she felt icy fingers brush her arm, though no one was there. Maya's fear battled her curiosity, but something deep inside urged her to climb higher, to see what waited in the darkness above. Maya froze as a soft whisper floated through the room, barely audible, yet unmistakable. "Maya, come to us." The words seemed to come from the walls themselves, echoing and twisting with the shadows. She spun around, trying to find the source, but the room appeared empty. Her phone buzzed again, but this time the screen was blank. A faint glow emanated from the mirror in the corner, reflecting not her, but a shadowy figure with hollow black eyes. Goosebumps covered her arms as the whispers continued, growing louder, circling her from all directions. She realized then that the house wasn't just old and abandoned. It was alive, waiting, and aware of her every move. Heart racing, Maya took a hesitant step toward the glowing mirror in the corner of the room. The air grew colder with every inch she moved, and the shadows seemed to stretch toward her, reaching like dark fingers. Her reflection no longer mimicked her movements perfectly. It lagged slightly, almost mocking her. The whispers circled her head, repeating her name with a sinister rhythm. She raised her hand slowly, touching the surface of the mirror. A sudden chill shot through her, and the glass felt wet, as if it were alive. She recoiled, but curiosity, stronger than fear, pulled her closer again. Suddenly, Maya's reflection moved on its own. Its black, hollow eyes stared deep into hers, and a low whisper came from the glass. "You can't leave. We've been waiting." She stumbled back, her heart pounding in her chest. The shadows in the room twisted and writhed as if alive, stretching across the walls toward her. Her phone buzzed again, but when she looked, the screen was blank. The mirror seemed to pulse faintly, drawing her attention, promising answers she wasn't sure she wanted. Fear and fascination battled inside her, keeping her rooted to the floor, unable to look away. As Maya stared, a dark, smoky hand emerged slowly from the mirror, reaching toward her. She froze, her breath caught in her throat as the shadows around her twisted and grew darker. The whispers grew louder, forming unintelligible words that sent chills down her spine. Her reflection smiled, a cruel, impossible grin that didn't belong to her. Every instinct screamed for her to run, yet her feet felt glued to the dusty floor. A sudden gust of wind slammed the door shut, and the mirror's surface rippled like water. Maya realized with a shiver that the house wasn't just alive, it wanted her, and it was beginning to reach for her. The smoky hand from the mirror reached closer, and Maya felt an invisible force pulling her toward the glass. Her feet scraped against the wooden floor as if the room itself was resisting her escape. The shadows stretched and lunged, wrapping around her ankles and whispering her name. Her reflection moved independently now, stepping forward from the glass with that cruel grin. Maya screamed, struggling, but the pull was relentless, drawing her closer to the surface of the mirror. The whispers turned into laughter, echoing from the walls and ceiling. A sudden crack appeared in the glass, spreading rapidly like a spider web, and the chilling cold of the mirror seeped into her skin. She realized she was no longer just observing the house's horrors, she was becoming part of them. Maya felt herself being pulled into the mirror, the glass cold and sticky against her skin. Her screams echoed through the empty house, but no one came. The room around her twisted and distorted, shadows crawling along the walls like living things. Her reflection laughed, dragging her deeper into the dark surface. The whispers became deafening, chanting her name as the air grew icy and heavy. She tried to push back, but the mirror's force was unstoppable. In the final moment before she disappeared into the glass, Maya realized that the house had been waiting for her all along, and now she was part of its endless nightmare. Maya awoke in darkness, the world around her twisted and unfamiliar. She was no longer in the house she had entered. The walls now shimmered with a ghostly glow, and shadows moved with a life of their own. The air was thick, heavy, and cold, pressing against her chest as if it wanted to suffocate her. Every whisper she had heard before was now louder, forming words she could almost understand. "Welcome. You belong to us now." Panic surged through her, but the strange environment seemed to shift with her every movement, keeping her trapped. She noticed faint silhouettes in the distance, figures she could not recognize, yet somehow familiar. Maya realized that the mirror had transported her into a nightmare, a twisted version of her world, where the house's horrors were alive and aware of her every step. As Maya tried to move, shadowy figures began to appear around her. They hovered just beyond her vision, whispering words she couldn't fully understand. Their movements were unnatural, gliding over the floor without sound, and their faces were obscured by darkness. Each whisper seemed to echo in her mind, filling her with fear and confusion. The ground beneath her felt unstable, as if she were walking on shifting shadows rather than solid wood. A sudden gust of cold wind brushed past her, carrying a voice that called her name in a twisted, mocking tone. Maya's heart pounded as she realized that these figures were aware of her presence, and they were guiding her deeper into the nightmare. The corridor before Maya stretched endlessly, bending and twisting in impossible ways. Shadows moved along the walls, reaching for her, whispering in voices that seemed to come from her own mind. The floor beneath her feet shifted like liquid, making every step a struggle. In the distance, a faint glow appeared, her reflection smiling with black, hollow eyes, beckoning her forward. She tried to turn back, but the corridor seemed to close in, trapping her in this twisted nightmare. A cold wind rushed past, carrying laughter that filled the air with dread. Maya realized that escape was no longer possible. She was now part of this dark, living world. As the shadows surged closer, her scream was swallowed by the endless darkness. For now,